I have a dirty secret. Well, it's not dirty. It's filthy. Well, it's not filthy. But I was fired from ODP. That's why I must be ripping on ODP. It's not because it costs too much and they don't select the right players and it's pay to play and all that stuff. It's because I got fired. No, that's not the case. And I wasn't fired. I just wasn't asked back, which is the same dang thing. So this is what happened. So I'm coaching ODP for the second year, I think. And I'm doing it for the money. There's no doubt. I like the extra money. And I was on a trip to regionals in Oregon, in McMillanville, I think, somewhere in Oregon. And I'm taking the 94 ODP boys team. And they didn't tell me anything. So I'm like, they gave me like itinerary and that basically said, here's the game schedule. And that's it. So I'm assuming, this is the first time I've been to this. I assume I'm coaching the team and I'm trying to prepare them for games. And I find out that's not the case. I'm basically just a babysitter. But I arrive, I'm coaching my kids right away. I get them in their dorms, and how I work, it's, I'm trying to work. So we unpack, get everything put up in the dorms, and then we take off to do our first session. And I do a session, and then we, get ready for dinner, I think it was, and then the coaching staff would go meet with the regional staff, and then that's where we found out, you guys aren't coaching, you shouldn't be doing your own sessions. So I'm like, then why are we here? And basically, in their words, and I'm gonna create my own words out of this, you're babysitting, you're babysitting, and that's all you're doing. Sweet. Okay, so we're babysitting now, and we're not coaching. We're not allowed to coach them, but we would go to the regional staff. We would bring the kids to the session. We would assist the regional staff in coaching, which is fine. Just tell us what it is. And so that's kind of how it went. And we were doing that, and then we would have games, and then we were coaching with a regional staff, but they don't know the names or anything. So we kind of led and helped the regional staff as we competed. And it was kind of like that. But I felt like, I'm going to give these guys as much information as I can. So I would schedule during our downtime, conversations, and, we would have group chats and stuff. But we would have a team manager, a parent there, that apparently didn't like me, I guess. So every time we had a conversation with the kids, they would ask questions and stuff, and they were just curious about what my thoughts on club soccer and stuff are. So I gave them my thoughts, and the same thoughts I give today in this podcast. I was honest. I would say, club's not going to make you better. It's not going to, me being a college coach, I would tell them, like, I'm not going to pick you because you play for Sereno or whoever. I pick you because you're a good player. I want to see it. So I put the focus on development on their own. Kept saying, and I did. I guaranteed. I said club is a scam and all that stuff. Like, you need to focus on your own development, which was the right thing to say. But the way I probably said it, with no tact whatsoever, probably rubbed the parent the wrong way, where he eventually complained about how I was ripping on club, but I was ripping on all club. So I don't know. So I would have conversations like that. We actually did pretty well. We only lost one game, and I think it was to Cal South, but we barely lost. It was like 1-0, which was my claim to fame. I could somehow always compete with teams that should smash us, and they smashed everybody else. But it was interesting to see that they did the selections. So they brought us all together and they picked the teams, the regionals, from the regional team, so that this would go into the national pool, I guess. So they select all the players, and they selected the entire Cal South team. The entire team. A kid showed up on crutches. Like, he didn't even play in this regional camp. And he was selected. They selected someone on crutches that just had, like, knee surgery, I think. And they were like, the entire Cal South team was picked. 0 Arizona kids. I think like maybe 3 other kids from all the other states were selected, but it was all Cal South, which makes sense because those players were free. They didn't pay anything to be there. So it was the top players available versus who could afford it. I know when we went, 2 kids couldn't afford to go and they couldn't get funds for them. So the alternate rich kids got to go. So it was kind of that. So it was interesting to go through that. But I remember the regional director, the guy that was running the show, this guy, there's no way he played soccer before. Not at any level like varsity high school soccer. There's no way. 2 left feet. He just looked like one of those guys that want to look like a soccer player. He's wearing... He just didn't look right. You just can tell this guy never played. I'm sure he's a great administrator. You know, he's one of those, but he's not a soccer player. But this guy's running the show, acting, you know, he's the main guy. And I'm like, I had a problem with that. I have a problem with a guy that can't play soccer running the show. I have no problem being an administrator, but man, if you're the guy and you're making the selections and all that, and you cannot trap the ball, I have a problem with that. I'm sorry. So, anyways, yes, ODP was short-lived for me. So after I finished that regional camp, came back home, time went by, and then we're coming up for ODP again. So they listed the coaches on ODP, but I wasn't listed for the following year. So I called the director of ODP. I'm like, hey, are you needing more coaches? I'm like, I'd like to do it again. And he said, no, we're full. And I'm saying, what happened? I'm like, you know what? And I kept prying, and he finally said, to be honest, there was a couple complaints about you. I'm like, really? And then I pried, and I found out it was a team manager, you know, basically for me, vocalizing that club sucks and it can't make you better. It's just a platform to play games. That's it. So yeah, I probably deserve to get fired, but that's what you get for being like me. Don't be like me, people. Don't have a conviction and have more tact. I'm trying to work on that, though. All right, peace out.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.